Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of How to Achieve Financial Peace with your host, Mr. Afrah. I'm excited to be back today to present another wonderful topic in this chapter. We're going to be talking about halal investing 101. So, what is investing? What is a stock? What is the stock market? What is halal investing? What are the halal funds available to most people, and what are the differences and similarities between them, and much more. We will have a question of the day. We'll cover the stock market. We'll cover article of the day, and ayah of the day, and quote of the day as well. So please welcome. Before we get into the program today, I am so excited to announce the book is out, How to Achieve Financial Peace by your host, Mr. Afrah, is out. It's called How to Achieve Financial Peace, and it also has a subtitle, 12 Steps to Financial Peace, and it's available on Amazon as an ebook. So please go ahead and support me if you can go ahead and purchase that book as an ebook, and the paperback option will be available very soon, and I'm working on that one, so please go ahead and tell everyone about it. Let's get this book on everyone, and it will help you, inshallah. Let's jump in right to the first program today, which will be about halal investing 101. So let's start with the basic. What do I mean when I say what is investing? What is this term, to invest? It's to use money in expectation of a profit. Are you trying to make a profit or income by putting the money into a company? You can either put it by buying a company stock, you can purchase or start a business, or purchasing or building property. Are you into real estate? That's one way to do it. Purchasing crypto assets. You have your crypto assets, and you have your digital assets, your art. So there's a bunch of ways you can use your money to invest to make more money. And that's the basic definition of investing. You hear a lot about a stock. So what is this stock? How would I define it? So I would define it, it's an ownership. It gives you an ownership of a company. You can own a piece of the company through the purchase of a small or a big number of shares. So the shares are divided, and they have them available for the public in the stock market, and you can buy them, or you can have somebody else buy it for you. And also you can purchase from a private company or through your company. Some companies offer shares in their stock to the employees, and which gives you just an ownership, basically. Before we go ahead and let's talk about what is the stock market as well. What is this stock market? Why should I know about it? It's a halal investing. So today, luckily, we have funds available that are halal funds per se. These funds say they are based on Islamic principles, and they follow the Sharia, and they use Muslim scholars and clerics to be on their board to certify them. I'm not recommending any of these, but full disclosure, I do own some of these in my family's and mine portfolios. So we have some of these investments that we're going to be talking about. But I wanted everyone to be aware of them, especially if you're in the US. It'll be a lot easy to purchase these funds. So let's just dive into these funds available. 3 families of funds available. There's Wahid, and you have SP funds, you have Amana funds. So there's 3 families, and the 3 families have, some of them have 2 different kinds of funds, some of them have 3 or 4. So I'm gonna start with Wahid. So Wahid has, I'm gonna use the symbol HLAL. Buy and sell all the time. They pick the stocks they put in there, and they let it just sit there and let it make the gains and the dividends, and then they distribute it to everyone. And an ETF for everyone is just a exchange traded fund, which is just a basket. If you look at a grocery store and you're coming in and you get your card to put in your stuff, that's an ETF. And then when you go in the grocery store, you get your milk, your eggs, you put them in the basket, and those are the stocks. So those companies are the stocks. So this is just basically a basket, and then you can put stuff in there. So what does this fund do? This fund invests in common stock, so invest in stocks and companies which composes large cap. So these are big companies in the United States that are worth more than $10 billion, and mid cap US companies which are worth about $2 billion to $10 billion. And what are they trying to do with this fund? It seeks long-term capital growth, so it's to grow your money and produce income. So that's one fund. It's called HLAL, halal basically, from Wahid. And then Wahid has another fund. It's called UMMA, which is an actively managed ETF. So this one is active. So that means they buy and sell more often, and somebody is actually looking at it. And invest in common stock of global companies, excluding the US. So this invests outside of the United States. And the fund seeks long-term capital growth. It also is there to make you money in the long term and grow your money, which is always good. The next, so that's Wahid. That's the end of Wahid. The next funds are the SP funds, and SP funds they have three funds, and it's called SPUS. SPAS, I would say, is a passive ETF which invests in common stock and composes large cap US companies. These are big companies, more than $10 billion worth companies. They buy those stocks, and you can buy a share of them as well through them. And it seeks capital growth and to produce income. Their main aim is to grow your capital as well in this fund. And then another SP fund is SPSK, which is a passive ETF and invests in Sukuk globally. So what is a Sukuk? A Sukuk is a type of security they issue from companies when they trying to purchase equipment or build a building, and they have investors pay for it, invest into them, and then they give them a profit. So it's kind of like a bond, but a halal bond, I would say. That's the main aim, is for companies not to have to go and get a loan. They can offer a sukuk, and that way they can share the profits with the people who invest. Try to not to be alone. And its main aim to produce income. So this fund is to produce income and capital preservation. So you try to keep your money the same and produce your income. This is the fund you want to get. SP funds has another one. It's called SPRE. This one is a passive REIT. It's a REIT, real estate investment trust, which invests in real estate companies, basically stocks globally, and they keep all these companies who own all these buildings, and its main aim is to produce income and capital growth. You can grow your money and produce your income because they offer dividends. That's the SP funds. The next funds are Amana, and they have about 4 funds. The first one is Amana Growth Fund, AMAGX, which is a mutual fund. Mutual fund is a little bit different because ETF, you can buy it and sell it like a stock. Mutual funds are a little bit more, you buy them as shares and you sell them. And this fund in particular, AMAGX, invests in common stock. So invest in the stock market globally, but mainly in the US. I think most of the investment in this fund is in the US. And its main aim is for long-term capital growth. So this one is also to grow your money. The next fund is called Amana Income Fund, AMANX. which is a mutual fund as well that invests in dividend-paying common stock. So they look for those big companies who give out dividends, and dividends are when a company makes profit, they give some of those profit back to the shareholders, and that money is called dividend. And its main aim is to produce income, and capital preservation, and to keep your money. Amana World Fund, AMDWX, is a mutual fund that invests in global common stock. They invest in global common stock, but as you can see, it's global. So they invest outside the United States, most of their investments. And its main aim is to long-term capital growth as well. So it's to grow your money in the long term. The next one is Amana Participation Fund, which is a mutual fund that invests in Sukuk. This one invests in Sukuk. As you remember, Sukuk is a type of bond, basically Islamic bond, where companies get money from investors, and they pay them from the profit. Its main aim is to capital preservation, so it's to preserve your money, to produce income, and also to give you income from your money. So what's some of the differences and similarities between all these funds? They're similar in providing funds that are based on Islamic principles. That's what they say is they're based on Islamic principles, and they are Sharia compliant. They contain mostly same stocks. So like some of these have very similar or same stocks, like the Amana Growth Fund, MAGX. Some of the differences, they are different because they're provided by different companies. So these 3 family funds are run by 3 different companies, and by different management as well. So that makes them different. The management fees, the money you pay to buy them and hold them long term also are different. Some of them are more than others. And then the objectives, the aim of the funds are different. So some of them are to grow your money, some of them are to produce income, and some of them are to preserve your money. And then another difference is the turnover ratio. What is the turnover ratio? Turnover ratio is the amount of buying and selling they're doing inside the fund. So if you're buying and selling a lot, you are costing a lot more money to the shareholders. So that's something you want to look at, and the management fee as well. When you decide to go ahead and purchase some of these, you check their management fees, you check the turnover ratio, you look at their performance in the past. I mean, it's not going to be what's going to be in the future, but at least you will know how they're doing so far. And also you want to check the prospectus, which I'll put a link on the end, on the show note, where some of this information came from. So go ahead and visit some of those websites. sec.gov is a good one, and then some bunch of other ones I have included. Just go there and poke around and see and learn about these funds if you haven't. If you're trying to do it, just go ahead and learn about them. What is the benefits of this fund? So why am I giving you this talk about these funds? So the main benefit is they say they are following Islamic principles for their investment, and they are Sharia compliant, and I'm always attracted to that. So that's a good benefit. You can choose one family. You can either go with Amana or Spaz or Wahid, or you can mix and match, and you can do it that way. They have Islamic scholars they work with to determine the criteria for Sharia compliance. So they work with scholars. If you're working with scholars, you must be doing something good. You can get exposure to all sets of different assets available on the stock market with these funds. Like all throughout the funds, you can get exposed to real estate. You get exposed to big companies, small companies. You get exposed to sukuk. So you kind of have an exposure to a lot of different asset classes with these funds. So what needs to be improved with these funds, in my opinion? Some of the funds have more than 50% turnover ratio, which is a lot. A good fund should have like less than 5%, 6% at the most. for turnover ratio. I would say that's a big thing they need to work on. The next thing is the fees, especially for the passive funds. If it's a passive fund, nowadays the fees are very small, so they need to lower their fees so that people can take more advantage of them. The fees are not that bad, but compared to everybody else, their fees, yes, they can do better on the fees for sure. Let's cover the stock market of today. The Dow Jones is at 32,270. The S&P 500 is at 3,879. The Nasdaq is at 12,022. Gold is trading at 1,872. Crude oil is trading at $76.68. Let's look at Europe. The FTSE 100 is trading at 7,748. The CAC 40 is trading at 7,220. Let's look at Asia. The Nikkei 225 is trading at 28,143. The Shanghai is trading at 3,230. The Sensei is trading at 59,135. Let's look at cryptocurrencies. Bitcoin is trading at 20,173. Ethereum is trading at 1,435. Question of the day comes from Amina from Dallas, Texas, and she asks, I have $10,000 to invest. How do I start? Well, thank you for the question. If you have a question, you have a comment, you have a concern, you have feedback, you can reach me at howtoachievefinancialpeace@gmail.com. The email will be on the show note, so go ahead and send me an email for your questions or for a future topic. So let's get back to the question. Amina asks, I have $10,000 to invest. How do I start? That's a wonderful question. Thank you for asking. If I had $10,000 today, the first thing is, do I have debt? If I have debt, I will pay that off. If I don't have debt, the next question is, do I have 3 to 6 months of emergency saved up? If you don't have that, I will put this money towards that. If you have that checked, then good. Then we can go ahead and look at the next step. Are you trying to invest to buy a home? Are you trying to invest in the short term, 1 to 5 years, or is it a long term? If I'm investing 5 years, then what do? I will take the money and put it in S&P 500 index fund. And then 5 years, you can get it out. You want to give it at least 5 years. If you are intending to let this money stay long term, then go ahead and talk to an advisor or do your own research and look at the funds we have discussed today if it interests you, and you can invest on your own in just a brokerage account. If you have a retirement account, you can take advantage of that as well for your investing, and go ahead and put in a brokerage account and learn to invest, or else you can get somebody to invest it for you. I hope that helps. Article of the day today comes from Rakan Kayali, and his topic is Amana versus SP Fund versus Wahid. I thought this would be a good one to just include here. So what the author does, he breaks down into 3 criteria and he compares these 3 funds. And the first, he screens for halal stocks, and he screens for the second, practical Islamic finances comfort level. How much are they following all the rules? And the third, he looks at historical returns. And he concludes that Amana is the best according to the author. And I have included a link to the article on the show note. Please go ahead and read about it. and yeah, it should just be a little fun way to compare them. Quote of the day: if you don't find a purpose for your money, the money will find a purpose. By your host, Mr. Afrah. If you don't find a purpose for your money, the money will find a purpose. Ayah of the day: and Allah is the best of providers. Surah Al-Jum'ah, Ayah 11. And Allah is the best of providers. That's the end of the show, everyone. Thank you. Please go ahead and get that book on ebook, and the paperback version will be available. I will have a link to the website on Amazon where you can purchase, and please let everyone know that this is available to them as well. Thank you, everyone, and please share, and let's get this out there for a lot more people to benefit from. Salam.